Let's start with a confession. Most of what you think you know about artificial intelligence is probably wrong, and that's not your fault. Movies, news headlines, and social media have spent decades building an image of AI that has almost nothing to do with what AI actually is. So let's fix that right now, from scratch. When most people hear artificial intelligence, they picture a robot, something with glowing eyes that thinks like a human, maybe wants to take over the world. That image comes from science fiction, from Terminator, from Ex Machina, from HAL 9000. Great movies, terrible education, because real AI looks nothing like that. Real AI is software. That's it. It's code running on a computer. It doesn't have a body. It doesn't have desires. It doesn't want anything. It's a program that has been designed to do one thing very well: find patterns in data. Let me give you an example. Imagine you show a child 10,000 pictures of cats and 10,000 pictures of dogs. After a while, the child learns to tell them apart. Not because someone gave them a rule book that says cats have pointy ears and dogs have floppy ears. The child just absorbed enough examples that the pattern became obvious. That's essentially what AI does. It looks at enormous amounts of data and finds the patterns hiding inside. The technical term for this is machine learning, and it's the engine behind almost every AI system you interact with today. When Netflix recommends a movie, that's machine learning. When your email filters spam, that's machine learning. When Google translates a sentence from Japanese to English, that's machine learning. When your phone unlocks with your face, that's machine learning. None of these systems understand what a movie is, what spam means, what Japanese sounds like, or what your face looks like in any human sense. They've just processed enough examples to recognize patterns. Patterns in pixels, patterns in words, patterns in your behavior. Now here's where it gets interesting. There's a specific type of machine learning that has taken over the world in the last few years. It's called deep learning. And the deep part refers to the depth of something called a neural network. A neural network is inspired by the human brain, but it is not a brain. Think of it like this. Your brain has roughly 86 billion neurons connected by trillions of synapses. Information flows through these connections, and the pattern of that flow is what produces your thoughts, your memories, your decisions. A neural network works on a similar principle, but much simpler. It has layers of artificial neurons. Data enters at the first layer, gets transformed as it passes through each layer, and comes out the other end as a prediction. The magic is in the connections between layers. Each connection has a weight, a number that determines how much influence one neuron has on the next. When the network is trained on data, those weights are adjusted millions of times until the network gets good at making accurate predictions. That's all training is. Adjusting numbers until the output matches reality. Now, the AI systems that have been making headlines lately, the ones like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, belong to a category called large language models. These are neural networks that have been trained on enormous amounts of text. We're talking about trillions of words, books, websites, scientific papers, conversations, code, Wikipedia, news articles, forum posts, essentially a huge slice of everything humans have ever written down. What did the model learn from all that text? It learned the patterns of language. It learned that after the words "the cat sat on the next word is probably mat or floor or couch. It learned that a question usually expects an answer. It learned that a joke has a setup and a punchline. It learned the structure of an essay, the rhythm of a poem, the syntax of Python code. But here's the important part. It does not understand any of it. Not in the way you understand things. It has no concept of what a cat is. It has never sat on anything. It doesn't know what a floor feels like. It has an incredibly sophisticated model of how words relate to each other, and that model is so good that it produces output that looks and feels like understanding, But whether it actually understands is one of the biggest open questions in philosophy and computer science right now. So where does that leave us? Here's the honest summary. AI is not magic. AI is not a robot. AI is not conscious. AI is software that finds patterns in data. Really, really complicated patterns in really, really large amounts of data. And it turns out that's enough to do extraordinary things. Translate languages, write code, generate images, diagnose diseases, drive cars, compose music. But it's also enough to get things spectacularly wrong, to reproduce biases from its training data, to generate confident nonsense, and to be used for purposes its creators never intended. Understanding what AI really is, not the movie version, not the hype version, but the actual mechanical reality of it is the first step to using it wisely. And that's what this series is about. No jargon, no hype, just how it actually works. Welcome to AI for Laymen.